Okay, how you guys? It's me again. I'm sorry. I keep saying I'll get off and then I don't. Um, One thing that I do want to tell you guys is that if you if you look up on YouTube Super Nanny, you can see some ways to discipline your children without having to hit them. If you are that scared of disciplining your child and feeling that, people are going to look at you as an abusive mother, watch Super Nanny. And she usually has, the timeout chair, the timeout corner, the timeout room. Use some of her techniques to discipline your children. If you don't feel comfortable enough spanking them, I know a lot of younger parents nowadays, they won't spank their kids. You see a lot of different ethnic groups that discipline their children a lot differently than others. you know um spanking and whooping is, you'll see a lot of African American or black parents, spank their kids. You'll see Hispanic parents spank their kids. You'll see some Caucasian parents spank their kids too. Those are the only three I'm most familiar with. I'm not familiar with the Asian culture or the Native American culture or the Indian culture or, those, or European cultures. I'm not sure. But I do know a lot about, Caucasian, African American, and Hispanic parents. Most of the time, they spank their kids. Okay. When I was working, when I was doing my class for early childhood, you guys remember I talked about the Cubbies a lot. I missed them. I missed them so much. They were so cute. One of the parents, I also had her as a teacher, and anyway, she would say that her husband would spank her son. She wouldn't do it. She didn't feel comfortable doing it. And, I was kind of just like, okay then, there you go. Sorry guys. Mouth's getting kind of dry. But yeah, so, it's okay to spank your kids. I don't know how many times I can say that. It's okay to spank your kids because they are your kids. If a child calls 911 on you because you spanked them, the police aren't going to be too happy about that, because I'm pretty sure the police themselves got spanked and whooped when they were little too. So I don't know how to say it, guys. Like, there's a very fine line between discipline and abuse. I can't stress that enough. Like I said, when I get married and I have kids, when they get to, the age where they know what's right and what's wrong, like if they steal something, yeah, they're getting a spanking. If they hit their brother or their sister, or, they're playing too rough and they hurt one another, yeah, they're getting a spanking. If I ask them to do something once and they don't do it, and I have to ask them 2 more times, so that's 3 times. If I have to ask them 3 times to do something, yeah, I'll give them like a little pat on the butt and tell them to do it. They cry. Children cry all the time. That's not abusing my kids. That's showing them that I'm the adult, you listen to me, and everyone is happy. I will explain to them why they were spanked or why they were disciplined the way that they were. Now, depending on my kids, I could have a range from crazy children to very, very polite, generous children. I hope I get the generous, nice children. But, of course I would talk to my husband about it as well, because he may have opposite views. But I mean, that's just me, I'm gonna spank my kids. I don't care what anyone else says. You know, that's just a form of discipline that I am familiar with. I'm not familiar with the timeout, you know, cheesy stuff. I can do that maybe for some of my kids if they just do timeout, but, you know, the whole having to continuously put them in the same spot if they move. If I have multiple kids, I don't want to do that. You know, and it's not taking the easy way out. If anything, spanking your child is a lot harder than putting them in timeout. Okay? It may seem like you're hurting them, but you're really not. You know, children get over it like that. They get over it so quickly. And as they get older, they'll just be like, well, you know, mommy whooped me for this, she spanked me for that, and man, I was just man, what kind of stuff was I doing when I was little, you know? But I mean, like I said, there's a very fine line between discipline and abuse. I don't think people know the fine line, so that's why I'm getting on here for 2 videos. And, you know, letting you guys know that there's a fine line between it. A lot of people think that spanking your child is abuse. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. For the last time, it's not. It's not abuse. It's discipline. It's a form of discipline. A lot of people can use the timeout method. Good for you. Use the timeout method. Use what works for you and what you are comfortable with. Me, I'm comfortable with spanking my kids. You know, I'm comfortable with that. That's what my family does, everything. You know, other people, they're okay with timeout. Okay, do timeout. I'm not telling you guys to spank your kids. You know, I'm trying to let you guys know that there's a fine line. Whichever one you feel more comfortable with, do it. If you feel so uncomfortable with other people watching you, like me, I will spank my kids in the store if they're acting bad. If they're running around, acting crazy, yelling, kicking, screaming, yeah, I'll spank them in the store. Right there in the store. I don't care who's watching. You know, those are my kids. They shouldn't be acting like that. You know? You know, people think I'm an abusive mom. I'm not. I'm showing my kids discipline. You know? I spank them in the store because they're yelling, kicking, screaming, running around, acting all crazy and stuff. You know, it's not because they're hyper, they just want to act like that. I'm teaching them. You cannot act like that in a store. You know, you shouldn't behave like that in a store. In a store, we behave nicely. You know, we don't run around, we don't pick things up and throw them everywhere. That's not nice. So yeah. So yeah, I just want to come on here and say that discipline your kids the way, whatever way you want to discipline them. Me, that's just how I'm gonna discipline them. That's what I feel comfortable with. Okay. Whew. Okay. Now that I got that out of my chest. All right, you guys, just remember the fine line between abuse and discipline. Because you guys may be putting stuff on there, like a child called the cops because their mom disciplined them. Don't listen to that stuff, you know. I don't know what's wrong with kids. Alright? So, I'm going to get off. I love you guys. Again, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. I'm going to do a video over the weekend. Love you. Bye.